Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Every Monday, I bring him in here, Brian Spitz. He's with BigStateHomeBuyers.com, a great company out there helping entrepreneurs and helping individuals in distressed property situations to in both cases improve their situation. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant when it comes to what's happening on the real estate front. A man well beyond his years in terms of his knowledge and information. And so I just wish I had your knowledge when I was your age. Life would be so much better today. But anyway, I'm so glad to have you on, Brian.
Thank you, Kevin.
And you are bringing back a guest we've seen before, very well-informed attorney who's going to help us understand some of the things that individuals need to know in order to be in their best stead when it comes to their home. Go ahead and introduce David to us again.
Good. David, I have my attorney, David Smitherman, here with me on the show. David's a real estate attorney. He also does estate planning and estate documents. Actually, he's done my own estate planning, my own will. And the reason I asked David to join us is because one of the biggest reasons that people come to us when they sell their house is because they have lost somebody in their family. They have a inherited house or a house where the person did not leave a will behind. And so I don't think the general public, I don't think enough people understand how important it is to leave your estate in order and take care of your will and related documents, while you can. So I really try to educate people once they contact us, once they sell us their property. We can help them get the property ready for closing, and we do that for them, but it's a lot easier if it's prepared ahead of time.
Welcome again, David. Glad to see you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me both.
Yeah, so real quickly, kind of give us an idea, first of all, what's the most common problems that you see with people when it comes to this issue of their estate?
I think that the most common problem is they don't have any estate documents at all. And that I understand the psychology of most people not wanting to deal with those kinds of issues. We're talking about the end of their life, and you don't want to have to think about those kinds of things. But if you really are trying to take care of your family, take care of your children, you need to have those documents in place. And, for a relatively minor price, you can be protected where should something happen to you, everything is in place for things to go smoothly, either if you're, some kind of incapacity or even upon death. And so for, less than $1,000, usually you can be protected to where all of that will be seamless and will prevent costs that could be 4 to 5 or 6 times worth what it would be if you would have had those documents in place to begin with.
Yeah, interesting. Brian?
Yeah, what I see all the time is not just a seller didn't leave a will behind, but people assume that just because, you're married or just because you have children, that the assets automatically pass to your spouse or to your kids. And, what happens in Texas, if you pass away without a will, it goes with the Texas Probate and Property Code, and it's contrary to what most people think. All the assets don't just pass to your next of kin, or it's not that clean. And so what happens is you leave behind assets or an estate, and then you have children that may not be speaking to each other, or children who may have passed away, and then their heirs need to get involved, and so it becomes a really messy situation. So it's not, it's really about preventing messy situations. Yeah. Would talk us a little bit more about what you do.
I agree completely. I always tell my clients that, it's better having a will, having estate documents. That's your way of disposing of the property after you die. Now, if you don't have one, it doesn't mean the property is not going to be disposed of. It's just going to be somebody else is going to tell you or tell your, your wife or your husband or your children how that property is going to be distributed. So I think people would much rather have a choice in how their property is going to be distributed after their death, as opposed to having a court tell those who are left how it's going to be distributed.
I read a bizarre article that said that more than half of estate planning attorneys themselves don't have a will. I found that rather humorous. So if the number's that bad for the attorneys who are out there in that business, what's the number like for those who, the regular population? What, less than 10% probably do?
That's what I was about to say. I'd say 90% of people don't have, the proper estate documents, or if any.
If any documents. You know what? Anything's better than nothing. Anything that help mitigate probate is going to mean more for the people left behind. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm sorry we don't have a camera. So when you say that affirmatively, we have a problem. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, and not just, people can go on LegalZoom.com or places like that and pull up paperwork, but they really don't know what they're filling out. And so I see people who attempt to do estate planning and they either, didn't get witnesses and they didn't get anything notarized, or they pulled, documents that are relevant to another state, or, I think it's really important that you consult with somebody who makes their living out of preparing these kind of documents, because if you don't know what you're doing, then you may do a good attempt, but it's still just as worthless at times as if you did nothing at all.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, David.
And that's the other issue that I see in a lot of clients who come to me, is that they think that the price and the money that they're going to have to spend to be properly protected is way much more than it actually is. I would just tell everyone, shop around a little bit. You'll be able to find an attorney who is competent in what they're going to be doing, and charge a reasonable price for that. But you do need to go out and look for that. There are attorneys out there who are, conscious of price as well as value.
Yeah, and by the way, David, is one of those attorneys. DavidSmitherman.com. That's Smitherman. DavidSmitherman.com. It really is. It does sound exactly like you spell it, so it makes it easy. Mm-hmm. Brian?
Well, again, I just want to point out that David, he handles all of my own real estate law and my own estate documents, everything that I do myself. So I really like to bring people on the show who I actually use, people that I've actually endorsed.
And Brian's one of those guys that you look at is like, what in the world do you have estate papers for? And you see, he was smart. He did it while he was young. Right. So his mortality seems so far out there. Yeah, I don't have to worry about it. The older you get, the harder it is to do the estate work, I would think.
Exactly.
Psychologically, emotionally, it's harder.
Exactly. And once you said it, what you said was right. Once you have it done, it's you have a peace of mind.
Yep.
Whether you get it done or not, it's always going to be in the back of your mind until you have it done, that you need to get that done. You need to have these estate documents prepared and properly executed. Once that's done, it affords you peace of mind, and you can go forward knowing that in the event that something's happened, and you know what? All of us are going to die at some point.
Speak for yourself.
But when that happens, you know that everything will be taken care of in the way that you want it to be taken care of.
Yeah. BigStateHomebuyers.com. Make sure you check that out. They always have great deals if you click the investment page. Then I want to encourage you to check that out. And again, David Smitherman, attorney at law. Make sure you check him out as well. Thanks to both of you.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. When we come back, we're going to have more for you. Do want to remind you best content here. It shows up over there at USDataReview.com. While there, like it on Facebook. Follow it on Twitter.